Welcome back everybody, Chris Bricks here, and today is week 2 of our Ford GT Technic build. Now last week we finished the first 2 bags of this set, which consisted of the chassis of the vehicle. We have all of our suspension components. We also have the front steering rack installed, as well as that wonderful looking 6-cylinder Eco Beast sitting right there. I gotta give props to LEGO because this time instead of using the traditional gray looking engine blocks, they're all clear. So you see a little bit more of that mechanical movement. I really like that about this set. We also did the interior. You can see 2-tone black and white bucket, probably racing seats. I'm sure it's carbon fiber. You know, I'll just pretend that's part of LEGO building anyways. And then we have the dashboard, which is doing 216 without even having the wheels on. Fast car. And then of course, at the end of last week's video, there's a little functionality that I found out while building at the end that I thought was pretty awesome. As you can see, we got the red shift knob, and then when we move it, it pops up the rear of the car. I'm going to assume that is going to go to the spoiler, and if it does, that is going to be an awesome functionality that LEGO really didn't have to put in there. But if it's right, that's going to be awesome. Because I haven't looked at the final product of what this car is. I haven't done any spoilers or, I know, play on words right there, but I don't know where that's going to. I'm assuming it's a spoiler based on its location of the vehicle, but I can't wait to get that on. And that's kind of what today's video is. It's going to finish out this car, get all the body pieces on, and kind of a final review of this build. So far, it's been a pretty good build. You definitely want to take it slow because there are some confusing parts when you're looking at all the pieces together, and you may put it on backwards like I did, or maybe it's easy for you, who knows. But I had a couple rebuild sessions in last week's video, so just take your time with this. But so far, it's been a fun build, and can't wait to get this done. Let's build. On step 225, you're going to put on this little flat piece for part of the roof. Now it's going to ask you to put the sticker on before you attach it to the roof. My recommendation is put it on the roof without the sticker on there, and that way you can align your sticker with the stripes. Pretty close enough. But if you put it on there blindly and then you attach it, you'll really see if you missed the mark or not with these. So I recommend, like I said, put the piece on, then apply the sticker, and you have a better chance of aligning the racing stripe that's going down the middle there. For step 291, make sure you pay close attention to where this little L piece here, where that is going to plug into, because if you look at it from kind of like this distance, like I look off to the side to see my instructions, the green arrow goes right over a black connector like that. It's not the right one, because when you go to plug it in, it should be slotted in twice here, and it's only once if that L shape goes into the black one. It's actually the blue one that sits, I know it's hard with this dark blue to see on the camera up top there, but that's the one that the L actually has to plug into. So just be wary on that on step 291, because it looks like the green arrow is telling you to plug into the black connector when it's actually supposed to be in the dark blue connector. Just a heads up. Bag 3 is done. You're looking at 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 50 seconds. Now this bag took care of the roof section as well as the rear portion of the car. So we finally got some taillights, we got the bumper on. Cool little feature that they did was how they usually use the, you could kind of, I don't know how well it shows up right there. Kind of like that step piece that they use for the steering rack with the gears to, you know, make this all go back and forth. Well, they used it to simulate the radiators that sit there. Really cool touch. I really like how that looks. And as I was excited to see, let's check it out. Yeah, that's right. We got the spoiler working, which is really nice. I love seeing it, but you will have to, these little fender pieces right here, you are going to have to adjust them, because putting them in just like the instructions, just slotting them in, setting them there, this spoiler will rub and get jammed on them pretty easily. So kind of flex them out a little bit to give it a little bit more room, so that way your spoiler will come up nice and easily without it going clang clang and then getting all sideways and everything. So one thing I absolutely hate about this set, and I don't like using hate with Lego, but I hate this design. Almost as much as the, I would say the headlights on the Dark Horse, how I didn't like their creativity with setting that up. It is the A-pillars here for the windshield. You can see this side's attached. This is how the windshield's gonna be. These things pop off just by breathing on the car. It doesn't matter how well I have it secured, how little strain I have by angling it the correct way to plug it in here. These things fall off. I just turn the car a little bit this way, this side pops off. Like, I wish there was a better way. I know sometimes they use these like little flexible pieces to simulate the A-pillars and stuff. Honestly, I would have been happier with that than this thing that has popped off about 37 times during bag 3. Has been very frustrating, to the point where I'm not even going to reattach it until this car is done, because there's no point, because it keeps falling off. So terrible design. At least it is for me, in my opinion. I do not like this design. I like the look of it better than just the rubber piece, but we got to find a better way to connect it, because it just pops off nonstop. And as you can see, we had some stickers. We had the rear spoiler sticker. Then we had the stickers up here and up here as well. So we got them aligned pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Got all the fenders in. This is all stickers as well, so I got that aligned as pretty good as I could. We got the dual exhaust and the little GT emblem on there. Like with the previous bag, definitely recommend you take your time with this. Everything is not built the same. It's not like just, oh, you're duplicating one side to the other. They use different pieces. I'm not sure why the reasoning is, because they kind of connect the same way, but it's not symmetrical. Like I said, I keep repeating that. This build has been asymmetrical, and you can even see it in the front end. And we have this, and then this. Completely different, and it seems like different pieces are used for different sides for whatever purpose. It seems like they kind of come out the same way, but who knows, I'm not the one who designed the set, so I don't know the logic behind it. But so be careful and don't just assume that it's going to be built the same way as the other side was built, because it's probably not going to be. And of course, we have about 6 pieces left. That's about 5 more pieces than the last bag. I don't think I mentioned in my last video, there was only 1 piece left in bag 2. So bag 2, if you're missing more than 1 piece, box, bag, floor. Check it out. But we got 1 extra GT emblem, which is nice, and then mostly just the little gray connectors. So if you're missing other pieces, check those 3 also. We'll add them to our bag, and so far not many leftover pieces on this kit, so you better keep an eye on all of them. Alright, now let's move on to bag 4. On step 332, you're going to start installing the fender for the front end of the car. Now, in the instructions, they listed this as part number 32. After the Pagani build, I learned to check the numbers on parts because even though they look the same, they may not be the same, and it saves you a little frustration later. But this is for bag 4. I have everything for bag 4 sitting here right now, and these parts are numbers 43. So if you see a 32, this part isn't going to match up, but this is the part you need. It's number 43, not 32, so it's just a misprint in the book. Unless there's a mystery bag that I missed and didn't see, but there's only 2 more fenders for the car, and they're both right here, so I'm pretty sure these are correct. So just a heads up if you're trying to match numbers with parts. For step 361, you're going to build this front piece and you have the Ford emblem and everything on it. It's going to have you put the sticker on before you install the piece. And usually I'm for that because I don't, sometimes it's clumsy having the whole thing put together and putting a sticker on it. For this instance, I would go ahead and do it. That way you can line up the stripes because this is all white usually here. So this is the sticker part and you want to make sure you align it to the stripes that are actually built on the car. That way you don't put it on, put it together, and realize I gotta peel this off and redo. Just a heads up. bag 4 is done. You're looking at about 40 minutes, 43 seconds. Not too bad at all. I felt like it was going to take a little longer. There's quite a few pieces, but honestly, it wasn't that bad. You got the fenders, you finally installed the headlights, and let me tell you, I like that LEGO did this, that they gave it actual like clear like headlights. I wish, you can't see it because it's over there in the corner, the Valkyrie behind the McLaren Formula E car, but I wish the Valkyrie Technic build had these kind of lights. Like I said, some kind of clear plastic instead of the stickers. The stickers kind of just throw it off with the headlights on the Valkyrie. I don't like it. But these ones, they look good. I like them. Bravo, LEGO. As you can see, still got my A-pillar dangling because I'm not going to fix it till the car's built because it'll just keep popping off. Already commented on the fenders. Numbers don't quite match the instructions, but they are the correct ones. So everything's all good there. We also got our front grille here, which is a sticker, as well as the Ford emblem here. Another sticker. But you know what? That's all the stickers. Bag 4 finishes off your stickers. You don't have to worry about any more on this car. There actually wasn't that many on this car, which is great. You only have 2 leftover pieces for this entire bag. This is looking like I'll have less leftover pieces for this entire build than I will for the Ferrari F40 Speed Champion. So definitely something to watch out for if you're missing pieces. Double check those bags, boxes, and floor because they could be there. As for everything else, it looks good. Just be careful. Sometimes building it one way on one side doesn't mean the other side's going to be built the same exact way, and I've kind of mentioned that throughout this entire build. They throw some, kind of like curveballs at you with how they're going to build it, so that way you don't get complacent, I guess, make it more exciting. I don't know what the challenge is, but we got the front end on. We're on the home stretch. We're looking at bag 5, which won't take as long because there's not many pieces left. Get the wheels, doors on this thing, and then give it its final review. So bag 5, let's build. So I was wrong. Bag 5 does have 2 more stickers. Just from the distance where I had it sat on the table, it looked like it was empty like the rest of them. So there are 2 stickers left on for bag 5. Just a heads up, ignore what I said about stickers being done on bag 4. On step 415, whenever I see these pieces, some people may not think much of them, but they always remind me of those really old school LEGO car sets where this would be the front, you put a light piece here, and a little grill, and that would be your whole front end design on some of these cars. It always takes me back to when I was a kid and I'd build my own little ones and then always use this for the front end and the rear end for tail lights, as well as the headlights, especially with the old Fox Body 5.0s, and they'd have like the little strips across the taillights. You put in red taillights here and then the little grills above it, and it would just look like the cars that you'd see on the road. Definitely takes you back, this piece. Bag 5 is done. Finally. 54 minutes, 14 seconds, with an overall time of 5 hours, 6 minutes, and 17 seconds for this entire build. So I ate my words on bag 5 because bag 5 appeared to be less pieces, and I thought it would be wheels and stuff, and that would be it, and we'd be good. We built some doors, put the wheels on, we're finished, yay! That's not the case. The doors on this car are some of the most complicated doors I have ever in my life put together on a Technic set. Now, I know I haven't built every set out there. I'm sure there's more complicated ones. Maybe some of the bigger piece sets are even more absurd than these were. But 2 problems. One problem was the coloring. You know, I have a pretty bright light in this room, and the pieces are pretty dark blue, at least printed in the instruction booklet I have. They're very dark blue. They have black outlines, so it really makes it hard to tell certain angles or where pieces really need to be connected. You really got to look close at it and be like, is this where they're trying to tell you? And another problem is the instructions for building these doors don't show you the angle that they need to be in order to be sit nicely here and also move with the curves of the car. As you can see, they got to be kind of flush there. Flush to the back so the airflow goes through the rear and out the back of them. You know, because the body of the Ford GT kind of makes this when you look from a top view. And that's how the doors need to be. So the top part of the door needs to be angled, while the regular part of the door is just going to be straight. The instructions do not translate that very well, at least from the angles they provide. That is my opinion. Maybe you figured it out. I don't know. I actually had to go to the very first page of this booklet to see what kind of angle do I need to have to make these doors correct. Because you could have the wrong angle on here and they'll sit here just fine. They'll fit, everything will be okay. You'll just notice it won't be flushed with the rear part of the body panel. And then that'll make you question, okay, what did I do wrong? Which is exactly what happened to me while finishing up door number 2 after having the wrong door number 1 on. As you can see, that's the angle you're going for. Top part of the door curves in, well not curves in, but slants in. Bottom part continues on. So if you're building it, you're stuck on it, you have questions on it, that's the angle you're looking for. Or like I did, just look at the front of the instructions. Look at the box. That'll give you a lot more info than the actual instructions where you're building it can ever give you, because it's just not the right angle in my opinion. I think they could have done a little better with displaying that. So because of that, I spent I think at least an extra 5-10 minutes just messing with the doors, trying to figure out what angle does LEGO want me to build this at. So can't say I'm thrilled with that, but it does kind of pay off because check these doors out. They're not just straight open. They're almost like the Aston Martin. You can see it has a little hinge here, a little hinge system that comes up. And there we go. Not just straight up, but straight up and out, almost like butterfly doors right there. It's really cool. It's a cool effect seeing how the gears on the inside of these work, especially right here when it tucks in. You can see it moving. Really cool doors, complicated doors. Just need a little bit better, instructions or an additional picture in the instruction booklet to really get it known what angle you want on it. Okay, there's my rant on it. Overall, I feel like this car is probably a 6 in difficulty. Not because there's any pieces you have to build that include 400 connectors or anything insane, or like the Pagani that had a 4-hour build time just for the front hood and fender area. This one, the tricky part was when you built one side, you couldn't assume the other side was the same. I was saying this throughout all the videos. It's an asymmetric kind of build, and they do it for reasons. You find out much later why they do it that way. It's so it can hold and connect certain pieces a certain way. And so just don't assume. Because you built it one way, I can rush and build it the same the other way. It may not be the same. You need to pay attention. Also with the dark blue pieces, at least in my printed instructions, sometimes it's hard to see where exactly they went or what angle they wanted you to have it at. So look closely, take your time with this. Otherwise, you'll be like me and have to rebuild it sometimes multiple times. Sticker situation's great, not many stickers. I think we did a pretty good job keeping them all pretty aligned. Can't complain about that. Rear stickers look good. The back of the car looks good. Front looks good too. This is a giant sticker here. Looks nice. We got the Ford emblem with the stripes matching up. Sticker there too. And overall, a really nice looking car. I really like how this Technic set looks. The Ford GT kind of lends itself to a Technic style build, especially with how they did the fenders and everything. Love the clear headlights, like I mentioned earlier. Wish they would have done that with the Technic Valkyrie. I know that's a smaller Technic set, but it'd been nice to have clear headlights like this. And I do believe they make a light kit for this car, so maybe throw in a video sometime getting that light kit for this. I still need to get it for the Back to the Future car. Not to mention, I saw for January 27, they're going to have a Speed Champion Back to the Future car, and you better believe that's going to be on this channel. And of course, we can't forget one of the great parts of this build. Engage spoiler. Whoosh. That's right. We got the functional spoiler by adjusting the gear shifter inside the driver's area. So that's pretty cool. I do love that part. It's probably one of my favorite parts of this whole car. Even the doors look cool. I have a bad taste because of how much of a pain they were to build. But the spoiler, that's just fun, you know? And for those who've already built it, you know you're going to go over to your set sitting on the shelf and do this as well, because it's cool. And, you know, LEGO, they think of a lot of things. We got our engine there, and the engine compartment is really tight on this car, which is why I think they went with the decision of making the block basically and the heads and everything clear, because look how much movement you can see on that. And that's not even, you know, that close up on the camera and everything. If those were all gray pieces, you wouldn't get as much movement and much excitement out of it. So I do applaud them for using the clear pieces. I think that's a great touch. You know, I can't say enough. Overall, pretty happy with this. Doors were a pain, but everything else, this car looks good. This is gonna look great. You know, I am considering whether or not I should get the frame. There's a company that makes special frames for some of these bigger Technic sets to hang on the wall. I think it'll look really good on that too. And overall, very happy with this build. Wasn't too bad. You had about 5 pieces left over from the final bag. Not many pieces left over altogether. So as I always say, check the bag, check the box, check the floor. Because if you're missing any major pieces, they're there. You don't get extras on them. So be careful of that. And before we go, of course, let's give next week's hint. And I hope you enjoyed that hint, because that is one of our furry friends that live in the house with us. So, you know, we'll see what we come up with. It's an older set. I think it's from 2022, if that gives you any kind of thing. And it's going to be Halloween themed, of course, because it'll be Halloween when that video comes out. So it only makes sense. As always, if you like what you see here, you like LEGO builds, I specifically build a lot of car sets. So if you like that kind of thing, awesome. Go ahead, subscribe, like, comment. Let me know what you think. If there's any builds you want to see, let me know. Hit me up on Instagram. We got over 300 followers now at this point. Super excited. Every day it seems to be a few more at a time. Kind of crazy. We're also starting to climb in subscribers. I think I've had 5 in the last couple weeks, which for me is great. I know that's nothing compared to YouTube land, but for me, that is awesome. I thank all of you that have subscribed and watched these videos. And of course, you could always reach out. You have a question about a set, should I get it? What do you think? Let me know. And if I built it, I'll give you my honest feedback. I'm not just a LEGO fanboy. I have a lot of LEGO sets, but I also like other sets. So we'll get some of those in there as well. But until next week, keep building.